Hi, everybody. Elliot Brecht here again with Team Cheeky, and we're doing a panel video today where we're going to discuss some of the negotiation sort of methods and strategies that all PhDs should know. We were talking about this because after you've gotten your referrals, after you've gone through and done informational interviews and you've actually landed that job and you've gotten an offer, you want to make sure that you negotiate. And we want to have a few things that we can, let you know to help you out with that. Some of the first things Alejandra actually brought up a really good point when we were discussing this earlier, and I'd like her to let you know her thoughts on negotiation.
Sure, thank you, Elliot. Well, the first thing I want to point out is that you only negotiate when you have an offer, but once you have an offer, you should for sure negotiate, always. Doesn't matter if the offer that you get is like 3 times what you were making as a PhD, doesn't matter. Employers in industry are expecting you to negotiate. They never, their first offer almost never is going to be what they're willing to pay you. And if you don't negotiate, you will never know how much they were willing to give you in the first place. So even though it's not like, don't negotiate in a phone screen or an interview, but once you get that written offer, negotiate for sure. You have nothing to lose.
No, that's very true, because go through and actually when looking at the numbers, it's a very small percentage of people that actually negotiate. And then most people who negotiate, it's almost 90-some% are actually going to get something better than what they were initially offered. It's just a matter of actually doing it. Most people just don't actually negotiate, and so they get undervalued, from what they should be doing. And to know what you're supposed to be doing, Amanda actually had a really good point on how sort of how to negotiate then.
Yeah, thanks, Elliot. So I was just noting that, at least for me personally, it's really hard to step confidently into negotiations if I haven't done my research to know what the market rate is for this position, for this type of company, and for the geographic location that I will be working with. And if I don't come in armed with those numbers, when the employer gives me an offer, I may just think, oh, this is great. But it just takes a little bit of research to find out whether or not that really is great, like I said, for the particular role and the value that you'll be bringing to the company. So it's really important as you start to look for jobs to know about what the going rate is, about what you should expect for a job offer in your target position.
No, that's really true, because it's going to vary between the position, the company, the location you're at. And so you just need to know all of these sort of things before you come to the table there, so that you're actually prepared with the knowledge and those numbers and what actually is going to be, a livable wage in the area, like what you as a PhD are valued at. And another way to sort of, anchor that so that you can actually then have things to negotiate with. Lisa's got a good point on how to sort of really, make sure when you are negotiating, you come, with all of your tools ready. And what were some of the things that you were thinking there, Lisa?
Well, thank you, Elliot. So in addition to, or to build upon, I should say, what Alejandra and Amanda mentioned, so you definitely for sure want to negotiate. You definitely want to for sure know, have an idea in mind of what you're kind of aiming for. And you also, of course, want to have your walkaway number in mind, just so that way when it's time to walk away. Because if I think it's important, just as a quick note, I think it's important to set that in your mind before you actually begin the negotiation process, so that way it's easier for you to negotiate, as well as because sometimes walking away is the right decision. So you definitely want to have your walkaway number in mind, and having all the research in preparing for that is important. So in terms of, when it comes to like the actual negotiation phase, like the actual conversation, we definitely we encourage you to have an actual like conversation when you're negotiating. So it's more of a like back and forth, as opposed to just a written list of what it is that you're looking for. So then it's more of a conversation, which is definitely an important aspect of building and continuing to build rapport with your potential employers. So in terms of the actual negotiation, so what's helpful is that in addition, so once you have the research that you do that Amanda recommended, you can then align the skills and experiences that you have with what's in the job description, as well as what you learn about the company in particular. So like the mission of the company, the strategy of the company, what it is that they're trying to do, where it is that they're going. And informational interviews with employees at that company can also be really helpful to fully understand the scope of the company and what the company is trying to do. And then you can really work to align your experiences and your skills, which you definitely have skills and experience that align with the company and the job description and all that good stuff, even if it's not like 100% comparable. You definitely have skills and experiences that are relevant to what's in the company, what's in the job description. So you want to focus on how to, when you're communicating with during in the negotiation, you want to focus on communicating how the skills and experiences you have will help contribute to the company's mission, how you look forward to doing X, Y, Z, so that way you can help the team build out ABC, whatever those happen to be, because it can vary depending on the position, it can vary depending on the company and all that other things. So you want to have that stuff in mind, so that way when you're having a conversation about your value and your worth for the company, you can talk specifically about, I really look forward, I really liked how you talked about this and how your company is really working towards doing this. I really look forward to contributing to do this. And, my experience with ABC can really help with bringing this forward and bringing this to the market, or, whatever happens to be. So you just really want to bring in the specifics of what you've done and how that is going to help the company with what they're really looking to actually do. So that will really help to set your value in their mind, as well as demonstrate that your value, right? So that's kind of tying in all the other aspects. So that's kind of my suggestion.
Yeah, no, it's great, because that is one of those things is you forget that, like, yes, you're going through, and the negotiation is a conversation. You're not going over and it's like something that you want both parties to leave happy from. You want, you're not going over and, like, if you go through and are demanding more money, demanding this, and you're not actually providing them information on what you're going to do to actually, be worth that and to make that worth it, they're just going to feel and see you as being antagonistic, and, everyone's not going to leave the table happy, because you want to make sure that you're going to still be working with these people, so you want to make sure that, the exchange is, structured in a nice way, so that you're telling them what the value you're going to bring, so that when they do give you more in whatever you're negotiating, not just necessarily the base salary, any sort of like vacation time or other perks. There's whole lists of them of different like 10 different areas where you're going to be potentially negotiating for. They realize what you're going to be bringing them in exchange for these sort of things. And in order to sort of do this, like with anything, practice makes perfect. And so remember that for some of these things that you can negotiate in a lot of different instances that people sort of forget about. And you want to try and do these things ahead of time as well, so that you get more comfortable doing it. You forget that going to like a flea market or going to a pawn shop or going to some sort of like low stakes thing, eBay, you're negotiating on there. Like, try these things out so that you get sort of a handle of what it is and how the interaction is going to go, because you with practice makes perfect with any sort of thing. So you want to go through and actually do it, know what your value should be, and then know what value you're bringing to the company, and then just practicing it. These are sort of like some of the best things that are actually going to really help you to negotiate. And like Alejandro said initially, the company wants you to do it. They're expecting you to do it. They're going to start off thinking you're going to negotiate. And if you don't, you're not recognizing your value as a PhD. And we want you to get everybody to remember that, so thanks everybody. Remember to negotiate when you get that offer, when you have it written in hand, and, we'll see you next time. And again, yes, Lisa, going to say we're going to have a longer webinar on this next week, and you can join the link that's in the description, and that will take you there. We'll have a longer discussion next week on negotiation. So you can, at that point, then remember your value and keep thinking and acting like an industry professional. Thanks, everybody.